All right, Renee Rabbitt here, Rabbitt Design. Let's solve the first page of ChiefTalk's Forum's Q&A section. Done a couple of these. It's kind of a popular segment. I just got another message. Someone wanted to see me do it again. They like watching that series, so let's do it. Let's dive in. Now, I haven't looked at this page. I might have clicked on one or two of these links before just because it might have mentioned me, but other than that, I really haven't looked at this page. I'm hoping I can get through this. I usually run into a couple of hiccups where I don't know an answer, so we'll see what we come up with. nVidia drivers updated. I know probably what this is about, which is if you're on the newest set of nVidia drivers, you might want to roll back to November's set of drivers. I don't know the series number, but if you're having any kind of crashes in the software, you might need to go look at that thread and you might need to roll back your driver. I know Chief's working on it. And that's about all I can tell you. And it looks like that's what this next item up here is as well. X14 Ray Trace quit on MacBook Pro. Actually, I don't know anything about that. I'm not even going to try guessing at it. Let's see. Storyline modification. Now, I don't use a ton of storylines, so let's see what we're talking about here. Having a very annoying problem with the storyline dimensions in elevation view. I simply want to remove certain extension markers. I saw CA videos that show just pull the end of the line toward the marker, but that is not working. Anybody know how to do this? Well, so you don't really pull the line towards the end of the marker. It's more that you would pull the line, just kind of completely to the point where it's not snapping to anything. So let me pull an elevation here, and I'm going to enable my storyline dimensions. There you go. And if I don't want this top plate to show up, well, let's do a couple things. Let's open up this dimension line specification, and it's inheriting properties from my dimension default, which is 1/4 inch Rab's favorite. Put a lot of time into my dimension defaults. And so it automatically takes us to the panel that is locate auto elevation. And in our auto elevation, we can see here what I've designated as things that I want to pick up here. Is in auto elevation, I want to pick up cabinet sides, corners, etc. Now let's look at locate elevations. This is actually more specifically what we're looking at, which is I want bottom of the wall, I want ceiling finish with the floor name, floor finish, grade level, highest ridge. Now you can remove any of these and it will take it out of that auto story pole calculation. So and you can always go in here and snap new elevations, right? So whatever elevations we can pick up, if I grab this and I grab this continuation diamond here and I snap it to something that's relevant, it's going to pick up some additional markers, right? Now, sometimes this is a little bit difficult to pick up any kind of snaps. And something that I encourage people to do if you're trying to locate something very specific is go into your camera, it's like this, drag it through so you create a cross-section cut. And with that cross-section cut, when this updates, you might be able to grab some additional elements. So say for some reason I want to get the elevation of a window on the back side, which wouldn't make any sense, but let's use it as an example anyways. Continuation caret, pick up this window. There we go. I'm actually picking up the header for that window. And then if I go back in here and I grab this camera and put it back into where I had it before, snap to the edge of the page here, you're going to see it updates this, but we did retain this header. Now let's say we want to remove this. All I need to do is click that this story pole dimension string and just grab this and kind of throw it off screen, and that's going to make it disappear. So that's a pretty simple one. Okay, next up, rotating camera on purpose. I'm sure we've all done it. We've flipped the mouse while in 3D and the camera starts spinning, sometimes slow, others super fast. Now that I want to do it on purpose without creating a walkthrough, I can't. Anyone have a tip? That's interesting. So let me see if this still works, because I know it used to work. I don't use my mouse to navigate in 3D. If you're using your mouse to navigate in 3D, I really encourage you to get a space mouse instead. That's this device, if you can see it on my screen. One of these devices, any number of the series of these devices, I have the wireless Pro and I have the regular wireless. So it used to be that if we grabbed our rotate camera here and then kind of let it go. There you go. It still does it. It'll spin on its own. It will spin according to, kind of the speed at which you moved your mouse when you had let go. And so then if you wanted to record your screen like we're doing now, maybe that's clever. I used this same method, actually, believe it or not. If we get into my signature, my profile on ChiefTalk, and we go into the About Me section, I use the same method to do this little animation here. So kind of clever. I get what the person's talking about. Delay design, go get a 3D mouse and never look back. Okay, here's one on Twinmotion. Someone's just starting to use this. I know I was tagged on this post. Someone was nice enough to point out my tutorial series from the year 2020. I'm going to try to do one for 2023 after they fix a few glitches. So I'm going to redo that series and maybe make it a little bit more relevant. I know there's a gentleman here, Stephen Hoff. He's got a scene that he's created for people to just download and try. So that was very generous of him. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. You can load it up in Twinmotion and drop your plan in there and try to manipulate your scene, and you might get some quick good looks from that scene. All right, this next one. See this deck board? ? Help me make it disappear. Okay. Let's see what he's saying. I had a deck built underneath this roof. I copied one of the deck boards and moved it to where it is seen in the attached pics. When I let go, my plan file it will not let me delete this board that is now floating in the air and in my way. Well, let's just download the plan and see what we've got here. I'm going to take this to send and delete and open this up. Okay. See what deck board we're talking about here. Okay, so he copied a deck board and he can't get rid of it. Now, usually we can just go into the object properties and, kind of get us some additional info here. If we try to delete it, it seems to be deleting just fine. So I don't really know what the problem ends up being. Let's see. Yeah, funny. I don't know. Maybe they're having a little glitch on their system. Looks like he's got it solved anyways. Try this next one, deck railing issue. I'm having an issue with my railing on one side being raised with some sort of sill or framing member between the newels and the deck board. Cannot find any settings that are influencing it. So this is going to be another one. We got to download this and take a look. I love getting onto ChiefTalk's forums because it's encouraged to drop your plans in here. They have a 14 megabyte cap, so that can be difficult sometimes, but people still manage to do it. Okay, I love that this person dropped a camera in so we could see exactly what we're talking about. Of course, my favorite is if you then bubble that camera to really let us know what's going on and maybe even drop in a note. So like something like, I have an issue here. If you hadn't seen this, I made a YouTube video about this. I have an issue. This just makes it so easy for a technician to come in here and figure out what's going on, right? So great that you dropped a camera in there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So what's going on here? Well, I do see that. What is this? Did he generate this from a railing? Yes, this is generated from a railing. So we've got some kind of platform intersection issue here, is what I would be guessing. Let's just look at what our wall types are configured of. Okay, nothing interesting in the wall types. Rail style, raised bottom 7 inches. Okay. Walls, balusters, offsets, etc. And he's making it from panels, twisted. Okay. So let's do a couple things just to kind of check this out. Now, it does look like To me, this seems like a platform intersection issue where we've got a platform here separate from a platform here. So maybe if we gave this a little break, let's see what's going on here. This looks like it's maybe a doorway. So instead of a doorway here, interior door specification, let's just see what happens when, now I don't know the solve for this, honestly, but usually when you've got some kind of anomaly between two platforms, you've got an intersection issue and it might create some geometry that's unwanted. So my first thought is let's get rid of this door, but let's also, I want to keep this as a reference. Okay, so I'm going to actually snap a line here. And this is kind of an arbitrary snap. I didn't really have anything to snap to, but I'm going to take that line, copy, reflect about, and here's those two breaks, okay? And then I'm going to remove this door. Next, I'm going to take this railing and I'm going to create a break right on my inference lines, okay? And the last bit is I'm going to take this section and turn it invisible. Let's see if anything happened in terms of the platform intersection. Now, the last thing that I could do here is I can open this up and I can state that there is no room definition here. Let's see if that changes anything. And is this a landing or is this a room? Right, so he's created a room right next to it. And I can already, well, let's see. Let's see what happened. See if anything changed. Did that board disappear? It did. So it's a platform intersection issue. So if this person comes back and looks at this video, there you go. I solved it for you. The only thing is that this top header section here, that disappeared. We could probably get it back with a trick or two. You might be able to just enclose this whole outside structure and still have with an invisible wall that has room definition, and then have your railing run through so that we don't have this gap here. So that would be a solve. I'm not going to do that. I just explained it well enough. You should be able to figure that out. All right, next one. And actually, let's go to solution. This is solved by Alaskan Sun. What's Michael, one of my favorite humans. Let's see what he says. Yeah, okay. So floor heights are different than your landing and then on the main deck. So that's what the issue was different heights there. So we kind of figured that out in a way, like it was a platform intersection issue. You've got some things that aren't aligned. All right, next one, crown issue by DH7777 again. These are windows in my kitchen. I am making an exact model of my house as practice. I've run into a problem here. I need to place crown molding on my window interior. Crown on a window interior. Well, he's talking about a crown profile, but this is more like a lintel. And it's going to match cabinet crown. I drew the crown I'm wanting to use in plan view and raise it off the floor to close to the position I need. And then what's the problem? I want to make an object out of a piece of crown that I can resize as I want and place anywhere I want, but I don't know if this can be done. Any suggestions would be great. Well, of course, you can make a crown to be placed. Even in fact, you can make it with these little returns. So that's very simple to do. Let's do a new plan. And we're going to just draw out let's just draw out a trim here. Ding, ding, ding. And I might even cut this so that, well, let's figure out what our crown molding profile is going to be first. So let's apply a crown to this. I don't care what height it's at right now, because we're going to convert this to a symbol that then is going to have stretch planes. So let's just look up crown and see what we come up with. Let me just grab, here we go. This is a 5 1/4 crown, okay? And actually the width is 3 7/16. So I'm going to copy this and press OK. Now I'm going to draw a line, and you can see it extruded on the outside of my polyline, okay? So I'm going to draw a line, and then I'm going to take that line, drag it down, tab or enter input, Control V to paste. There we go. So now I'm going to use this to trim. I'm going to trim off this excess down here. Now, actually, before I even do that, I missed a step. Seems like we can't actually trim our molding here. Is that the case? Try this again. I might have forgotten this. So, trim or cut. Yeah, it's not going to let us cut this molding polyline. Let me go back a step or two. For some reason, my mouse is not clicking. Base. There we go. All right. What is happening? I've got a key bound up and locked. That's what's happening. I need to look at my feed real quick. Got a little error here. My shift button is held down. See if we can get that. There we go. That's back. All right. Let me try this again. Yeah, so we can't actually trim a molding polygon. And why not? I have no idea why not. So I do want to come in here. I want to note that this is the poly ash crown. Okay. I'm going to convert this back to just a regular polyline. And then now I can use this, trim this excess, and convert this back to a molding polyline. And add that poly ash. Oh, and which one? I have no idea. Dang it. Okay, I'm just going to still specify that that's that width that we want. Now that I have this molding, I want to convert this to like a millwork, what I would probably do. So millwork class, show advanced option. We can rename it an advanced option. Call it stretchable crown. Take a look at what this is in vector so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. Got a vector crown. You can see that it's oriented so that it's in the wrong way. It's facing the white. It needs to be facing us. It needs to be facing the camera. So we need to rotate it twice. There we go. Now it's rotated twice. It's facing us. And I want uniform stretch planes in between my miters so that the miters themselves don't stretch. I need to get to my sizing panel and click on uniform stretch zones between width planes 1 and 2. And we can kind of set this arbitrary. It's not really going to matter in this case. Sometimes it does. So we can go -60 and then kind of tab through and go +60. That's just going to be before the miters, maybe a little bit less than that. Why not? Let's get a little closer to it. I mean, a little further away from it. -58, 58. So there we go. That's going to stretch in between, right? So then when we place it against a wall, we can stretch this and it's going to keep those miters looking clean. Take a look at what this looks like. Now the last test of this would be that we probably want to put this so that it's at the head height of our window jamb, right? So we can open object within the library and say from finished floor to top, maybe it's 80 inches, who knows. That way when we place it in, it's going to be right at that window height. Here we go. Might need to do some offsetting. You might want to do some offsetting in the Y so that it kind of places inside a, jamb profile. Who knows? All right, let's go to the next one. RTX 2000 series real-time race tracing. Curious to know if anyone is using this. I have a 3000, Quadro 3000 on my Surface Book. And I'm not going to answer that yet. Stay tuned. Maybe we get some answers for that in the coming months. How would you do this? Door hinge, thick wall. I'm always curious how we get certain features like inset door jamb, but not inset door. Inset door jamb, not inset door. The rest of the wall is solid. I need this door to swing out into the cavity from inside the wall. Any help would be appreciated. Okay, I've done this several times. There's a difficult way to do this, then there's kind of an easy way to do this. And it looks like Joe Carrick, I love Joe, kind of answered it. Make a wall where the door is just 4 inches thick. Small length of wall for the door to insert into. So you can do that. You can do a double wall. That's a way to do it. You can do some symbol hacking. That's a way to do it. I prefer the double wall. It's very predictable, and you're going to have your door set to frame through. So that's just a really easy way of doing it, and being able to control recesses on top of that. And you can even, being able to control your layer stack, especially Now, if you're working over in the UK, this is a really common thing to see is you've got a really thick masonry setup assembly for your walls, and then on top of that, you might have a framing assembly, and you might be recessing a door into the inner portion of the assembly. So you can do that with multiple walls and just butt them together. And if you're using tab input, you're going to place those walls in a way that they butt perfectly and make sure that there's no spaces in between. Use your temporary dimensions to set that distance between. Let's just show you real quick if I want to do a double wall. I want to draw a second wall out here in front of this first wall, hopefully straight across and not diagonal. And then don't double click it by accident. All right, so drawn this, and then if you have your dimensions set the way that I do, which is surface here, if I just go 0, these two are going to be butt together, and I basically have a double wall assembly now, right? And if I have this set to frame through, it's going to frame through. There you go. So just a couple tricks there. We can, of course, put it on that outside assembly. We can have it recessed. We can flip it. We can rotate it, flip the orientation, flip the way that, there you go. See, now it's recessed and it's inside of that second wall assembly. And then if you remove any kind of lines in between this, you could still get, a solid looking wall, and then show your default wall types in like a detail or something like that, which is what I do. Or show your full layer stack, who cares, right? It totally depends on, up to you. All right, so let's move on to another one. Footing is not showing correctly around garage doors. Footings around the garage doors are not generating correctly. They are extending out past the outside edge of the walls by around 6 inches. I want the outside edge of the footing to align with the outside edge of the stud wall. Okay, so let's just do this real quick. Let's just designate that this is, well, let's just designate that this is a garage. And then let's go look at our footings. Get into my foundation plan. And you can see here that mine, in fact, if we show a reference, and I'm going to change that reference to, let's see, I want to go to the first floor, and I'm going to make sure that this is set to, maybe we'll just do floor plan dimension, layer set's fine. And so you can see here my footing is not aligned on this wall, right? So if I go up a level and I pick up my wall type, open this up, now I can set this to be a garage wall, and we could very easily change, and maybe I'll make a copy of this and this becomes, and rename it, garage wall, for instance. And then foundation to the exterior of layer, there's where our foundation wall is, build platform to exterior. So this is more about the foundation being, how you want to align the foundation you might find there. But I think what we're talking about instead here is our actual footing. So build foundation, and then edit default foundation wall. It's been a while since I've had to do this. Let's see what we got going on here. So we've got our footing, aligned footing on outside. And I'm pretty sure that that would be it. And then we would make sure that our foundation is built to the framing layer. So let's see how this turned out. There we go. So I'm aligned on the outside now. Let's just pull a camera. And I got my terrain in the way, but yeah, my footing is aligned. On the outside, it's aligned with the stud itself. So if we use, if my delete surface tool is working, it's not. I'm going to fix that while we're here. Sorry, you're going to have to wait for me. This is how quickly we do hotkeys around these parts. See if it conflicts with something. It doesn't. So now we got a delete surface tool. There we go. Oh, we would have had to build framing first. Show it in this view. Sure, why not? Now we can use my delete surface tool. Kind of pick it up. Yeah, so we can see framing is aligned on that foundation wall, and that footing is aligned with that outside of the footing. Easy, easy. So, well, we have to come up with a quick way of closing down a bunch of windows at once, especially when we're doing all this. I'm wondering how difficult it would be to just can't shift select, right? Make it a little bit easier to close all these. Or I can just run through here and find the root file, close the window. Chief, make this easier. Shut down a bunch of windows. I guess we could have closed the program down. That would have been faster. All right, let's go back. Schedule table, vertical cell alignment. Afternoon, I have a keynote schedule from Jamb. Ed. Oh, I have a keynote schedule table and I'm looking to vertically align the keynote callout to this top of the cell. Is this possible? Interesting. I don't think that you can. Don't think that you can. Give it a shot. So my keynote schedule lives in my project browser under notes. And we're going to drop a note in here. Test. And let's drop a note in here. We've got a lot of text. Vertically aligned to the top of the schedule. Let's open this up one more time. Add a couple more character spaces. And so do we have any kind of vertical alignment? I really don't think we do. Maybe I'm going to learn something here. Top pros, show color scale image, use plan view scale. I don't think so. I don't think we've got a way to make that all out. And that's the position of our schedule itself. This is our margins, which we've got no top margin. And then we've got no alignment abilities here. We've got title text, we've got main text, and then labels. Shape, angle, size. Yeah, no, I don't think we have any way of aligning that in our XY. So send it into suggestions. Yeah, I don't think we've got any way to do that. I don't think that I have any clever ideas about it either. Well, actually, that's not true. I suppose I do. You'd have to make kind of a blank section here. So here's what I would do. Let's I'm going to open up a note. This is a workaround. Definitely a workaround. We just had to think about it for a second. So I'm going to show this as an example. Look, we'll do 0 example. Okay. We created a new field, 0 example. And in this field, I'm going to give it no value. Okay. I'm going to give it no value. I'm going to open up my schedule and I'm going to remove the callout. Okay? I want to remove the callout and I want to add my new category example and move it up in the stack. This creates a blank column. Now watch, I'm going to tie this in. I'm going to rename example and I'm going to call it callout. Okay. Now all I need to do is grab that callout and just drag it into place. Right. Now you might have to do something to fix the row height, but that would be a way to do it. but you would be manually placing your callouts in your schedule. So it's definitely a workaround. Takes time. I don't like spending time on stuff like this. So deal with the the software's limitations in that sense. How to create man, this is a long thread. How to create lifelike grass. Let's check out what the most recent is. I think people are just hanging out in this one. Cool old buildings. Yeah, this just looks like a hangout party. I have a good grass texture. If people don't know about it, it's free on my site. I know a lot of people in ChiefTalk use it. I know it's been mentioned a couple times in this, but it's never going to be lifelike. It just looks pretty good. So that's what I'd say about it. In terms of more lifelike grass, Twinmotion right now is my answer. I mean, you see every time we pull a 3D view here, we get back to window and grab a 3D view. My grass texture is built into my templates that I sell. So this is it. So, and it usually looks pretty good. Switch to a PBR real quick. Usually, especially when we've got a backdrop on here, it usually looks pretty good. But it's not perfect. So there you go. Okay. Export imported 3D CAD block. Explode imported 3D CAD block. Okay. I'm working on coexistence with 2020 design in our office. Unfortunate. The new department manager is a fan of 2020 design's pricing and ordering, but wants to also take advantage of Chief Architect's rendering capabilities. I've successfully exported from 2020 to a 3D DWG file imported into Chief with reasonably good 3D geometry. The problem is that the contents, cabinets, countertops, appliances, walls, are imported into Chief as a single 3D block, which I've been unable to explode. This sounds like it's a little bit more complicated, and also, why not just create a system in Chief where your ordering can work straight out of Chief? It would be my next thing. Let's see, it seems crazy to me that 3D geometry can be imported but not be able to be revised once brought into Chief. That's not crazy at all. Chief has its own parametric modeling system that's, I think, far more advanced than 2020. So, no, you're never going to be able to take some kind of component assembly that's rooted in a developer's code from one 3D platform to another and be able to, manipulate it in the same way. Same reason I would never build out a SketchUp is, but I'll take things from Chief and put them into SketchUp, and they, lose a lot of the BIM that's built into Chief, and suddenly it's just a free-for-all where you get to draw vector lines however you please. So you're not going to be able to modify 2020 within Chief, but why not just deprecate 2020, get rid of it altogether, and come up with a system, a library, if you will, where it handles your purchase orders for you. So build in your full library of cabinet details. Here's something I like to show people in case they don't know, is that if we build out some cabinet systems, we can build out a labeling system within the code. So let's drop in just a base cabinet and open this bad boy up, and then let's get into something like the object information panel. And in code, I'm going to say that this is a very rudimentary thing here. So I'm going to say that this is a B, and then drop down this macro, get to object specific, and say width, and we can format this. Now, watch what happens when we look at this. Let's just grab in an info macro here and point it to this cabinet we just placed and see what we got. So we're looking for the classification of component code. Let me turn off my drawing sheet. So component code shows, here we go. In code, we can see I just created this. This is B24. Now B24 is base 24. That would be a standard code for an ordering, right? But maybe you want something like this is going to become a 3-drawer base. So I might make a new object here, and then I'm going to use my kitchen quick tools, very quickly paint this to a 3-drawer base. And then I want to come in here and modify that component code again. And then I might do, this is a 3D base, or what's the DB3? DB3, is that what it's usually called? I actually can't remember now. But whatever this component might be, right? So it's a 3-drawer base and then times the width. So if we then change the size of this, let's say we add another, I don't know, yeah, 21 inches, sure. Now when we go snap this, to go check out what that component code is, or even better yet, let's open this up and let's say that the label is the component code. So in our label designation here, under schedule number, we can get to object specific. And do we not have code here? That's interesting. That's okay, we know it exists. So in between the percentage signs, you know, we can write out component underscore code. There we go, DB345. Might want to put a hyphen in there. Who knows? So once you have this, save it to your library. Label it. I'm going to save this to my library. And I'm going to say 3-drawer base. There we go. And we've almost come up with an ordering system. That way, when we go into my project browser and go look up schedules for cabinets, we want to add to this. Well, there we go. It showed up in the label. So DB345, right? An example. Or just drop in the code category. So we'd scroll down, get into code, add this, put it to the front of the stack. There. Or replace the number with that, right? Do your ordering based on just the codes alone. And so here you go. You've got somewhat of a smart system then built out from library. All right, let's move on to another one. Fully open end cabinet. Fully open. So I cannot figure out how to fully open this base cabinet and remove the side panel. This is pretty simple. And here's Mark McKinniff right here. I call him kind of the godfather of cabinets, if you will. So pretty easy to do this. You guys know me, you know I modify cabinets all the time. They are the most powerful tools. So let's do a radius end. So change this in general. It's going to be let's call it a right radius end. And then we're going to get into front, sides, back. So let's pick our left side and we're going to designate this as none. And let's pick our front again. And then let's make this an opening so we can see what we're talking about here. Get rid of this drawer and the separation between them automatically there. And then our left side style, we're going to set this to 0. There we go. Completely open end. No problem there. Super easy. All right, next up, porch slab. When drawing a patio porch with concrete slab, how do you get the concrete slab to extend past the posts? 6 inches to 12 inches. I'm working on a patio where I'm using a 6x6 post on an 18 by 18 inch stone base. So something's a little bit off in the description here. I'm imagining that someone is using, you know, like a railing as a post to rail setup to define a floor space, right? But this brings us back to another one of those posts where I'm going to change this to select intersected. Oops. And then I'll just select these, open these up, and I might say that there's no room definition. It depends. I might need this to have room definition. So a couple cases where we might need to have room definition, but let's just say no room definition, and then I'm going to use a room divider, and this could be 6 inches past the rest of that, and I could designate that this room has a slab, right? Pretty simple way of doing it. And maybe that railing is a post to beam railing. Here, let's just grab it. We'll make one. We'll just do a couple columns on here. So rail style, maybe this is post to beam. And we've got no. Oops, I didn't mean to do 0. Do like 6. That, who knows? Or maybe it's just posts, and maybe they're just doing columns. And maybe you want the newel post to be some kind of column. Sure, why not? And then it's going to set to whatever size that you specify right here. So maybe it's 12 inches, something like that. And then we could get into the rails themselves. You can delete these. Or what's another way of doing this? Doesn't include top rail, doesn't include bottom rail would be correct. Include top rail, include bottom rail. And newels, balusters, we need to turn off. Let's see. What do we need to do here? Balusters, what I want. First, we've got a none. We don't want 0. We want 200. I don't know. Or maybe this 0. There we go. Maybe. How do we turn off balusters? For some reason, I'm not remember that. But there's that column. It's inside of what would be a slab. If we designate this in the room, in the structure panel, let's say that it's a mono slab. There. Sure, why not? Maybe no roof over this room. Who knows? Yeah, I think that's what they're looking for. Okay, on to the next one. Knee braces. We have the attached picture. I made the knee braces out of a polyline solid. All the posts and beams are railing walls. My question is, how can I put the knee braces in the library for future use? Patio cover is freestanding, and I would also need to put the knee braces at every post. So, well, you would just convert it to a symbol. That's simple enough. Convert it to a symbol. You might, I don't know, get a little clever with it. You could turn it into a cabinet. I know no one wants to hear this. You turn it into a cabinet, and you can turn the brace into a door, and that would work. You want to see that? Everybody want to see that? Let's show it. All right, so we learned this trick last time. Let's shut down the program, and then we just get to say don't save, and then we open the program up, and that's much easier. Silly, I know, but you know what? Whatever. I know it works fast. And then new plan. All right, so I have a post. What's this post going to be? I have a post here. Let's just, I'm going to uncheck. Oops. That didn't go as fast as I wanted it to. Uncheck polar. The tabbing seems to be off there. Let's go 5.5, 5.5. All right, so we got a 5.5 post, and let's say let's just make it at 8 feet. Doesn't really matter, honestly, because we can change the stretch zones. But we're gonna create a symbol out of this, essentially, right? Actually, I don't even need to create a symbol out of this. There's a different way we're gonna do this. I'll show you. So we're clearly figuring this out on the fly. We'll see how well this works. All right. So let's rotate this. And here's the problem with this. What is the problem with this? You'd have to make one for every slope that you might need. So really, I don't even want to start with a solid because I want to start with a line instead. So I want to draw out a line, and then I want to spec that this line has an angle of 4 and 12. Okay. And then I can pop this down. I actually kind of want to pop it. Let's see, if we draw a line perpendicular to that, right, and we designate it as being perpendicular. Okay. Now, I want to see the start and end points of this, which doesn't seem to be showing. Wish my start and end points showed. So I can draw this back till it snaps. Hit tab or enter, and then plus 5.5. So this is going to be a 5.5 inch framing member. Perfectly 5.5 inch framing member. Even though I'm on an angle here. Except for I keep hitting equals instead of plus. 5.5. Oh, what did I do wrong? I know exactly what I did wrong. I left polar unchecked. All right, so you're going to snap this back. So it's going to pick up the direction that it's going. Tab or enter, check polar, and then minus 5.5. There we go. 5.5 framing member. Now I can take this, copy it, paste it. Okay. This is a convoluted way of doing this. Draw this straight down, snap it here. Okay. And then same thing. I'll draw this straight down. I did this in a very slow fashion. Could have done this better. Could have done this more efficiently. Getting late. Could have used the trim tool. All kinds of things. All right, here we go. Now I have the appropriate cut angle for this knee brace. And actually, I'm totally, that's a 4 and 12. Going to be kind of uncommon. Let's see, we're coming off. I have this all wrong. The 4 and 12, I want this to be 45. That's 45. So actually this top length should have been, I was looking at this all wrong. Here we go. This needs to go straight down, right? And then the distance between these two should have been 5.5. Figuring this out on the fly. The video is really good up until this point. All right, so there's a knee brace for a 6x6 knee brace that abuts a post and picks up a 4 and 12 roof. That's what we're showing here. So if we convert this now to a solid and make this 5.5, there we go. There's our knee brace. Now, here's the next step. I want to convert this to a cabinet door. And how are we going to do this? We're going to have to play with this a little bit. Convert it to a symbol class cabinet door. Show advanced options. We're going to have to rotate it. We're going to rotate it in our X. It needs to be tilted this way, facing back towards us. It's going to be surface mount, so I don't think we need to move it in the Y. Now, the only other thing that we want is, let's see. It's going to need to overlay our frame. So we're probably going to, the bounding box width is 5.5. We actually need this to report 1.5 inches less on either side. So minus 1.5 inches. Okay. There we go. So let's see how we put this all together now. Now I'm going to drop in a base cabinet. And the base cabinet is going to be overall height, 96 inches. Let's just make that countertop thickness. I mean, you don't even need to have a countertop, honestly, but let's make it 0, 1/16 thickness. Let's get into the face here. This is where it'd be difficult to kind of figure out spacing and everything, but this could be dynamic down the line. So everything's going to be a blank area. You're going to have a door in here. You're going to split that door horizontal. I'm going to say that the box construction is going to be inset, and then this bottom section is going to be blank. Okay. And then this door is going to be 5.5. Well, it's not 5.5. It's the cut length, whatever that cut length is. Let's call it 7 inches or something. Okay. And then our overall size of this is going to be 5.5 by, guess it, 5.5. No toe kick, right? Now check this out. Let's go look at this. Let's see how this works. Let's drop this cabinet door in component replacement mode. And what happens here? So it's being stretched. And why is that? Being stretched because it's not rating as a 3/4 inch cabinet door, which it needs to be. It's being stretched so that it is 3/4. So this depth here needs to be 3/4. That's problem number one. Problem number two is the height needs to change. The height needs to be the cut length height, which I'm guessing is around 7 inches. Rotate this around to check it out. 7 inches. And I'm going to leave it 7 inches, even though it's a little bit off. And then I'm just going to butt it up. Just, what, half an inch in the Z. Oh, excuse me, -1/2 inch. There we go. That's kind of center of it. So now when we go and replace it, it should retain its geometry. So let's move the walls up here. 3 feet, something like that. There we go. We've got a post. Now what would be the solve here? Here's where we get to kind of make this post dynamic. Let's open it. And we want to say in the box, front sides back, we want to make sure that this door is locked and that the blank area is left unlocked from auto resize, so that when we drag this cabinet up, what do we want to do here? When we drag that cabinet up, I don't want to, in fact, move that lower section. How can we get around that? Let me think about that. So we want this door to move down as we drag things up. So we do need to lock this lower blank section from shifting. Is that correct? Actually, you would really be setting what your post, where your post is at, and it's going to be at the height of this. So we're going to want to set this height. Let's say it's 24. Let's say it's, you could do the math on this. I'm not going to do it, but you could definitely figure this out, whatever this needs to be. So then that would be locked in it, and the lower section would always stretch. So now this is kind of dynamic. And you can use this over and over again. And check this out. You want another trick? Let's go to the back side and say we're going to match the front. Match front. Now we got a double-sided lever. Now it's dynamic. You could do a truss this way. I just came up with a new system. I'm going to sell it. Sorry, it's going to be in the shop. I'll talk to you soon. That worked well. Give it a shot. All right, shop light. What do we got? We're almost through. These sessions go long. Chief Architect X14, can someone tell me how to hang several shop lights equal distance from floor on sloped ceiling? There's only an offset from ceiling choice when I open the object. Offset from ceiling should give you exactly what you want. So I'm not sure what I'm missing. Maybe there's more info. Doesn't look like it. Eric Solver, usual, has a good way of doing it. You can open that object and set the, well, you need to open the symbol and change the classification. So if we drop in a light, like so, and then click on this light and open the symbol for this light, in our options, we can say that this is floor mounted as opposed to ceiling mounted. And now when you open the object, now you can say offset from floor 6 feet. There we go. Oh, that is a good method of doing it. It just seems strange though, on a sloped ceiling, you would want it to be the same offset from the ceiling. So I don't know what that question was about. We'll see if they come back. Number style centimeters. Chief Architect is kind of all over the place when it comes to defining measurements and has its settings scattered all over the UI. I would like to use centimeters, being that is what the rest of my software packages use by default. I can CA to use centimeters on the plan as defined by the primary format, but when I go to edit a wall measurement, that number is determined by the number style, which does not have a centimeters option. Well, my friend, you should be in the metric plan. So you can also just enter in centimeters. And I'm not sure why centimeters are even being used. It'd be millimeters, meters, etc. But I can move this object over if I just start sliding it by, I don't know, let's go 120 centimeters. And there you go. That's what it did. Little trick for you. There's a bunch of built-in stuff that you might not know about in terms of dimensions. All right, two-story porch. It's not very often I come across them, but from time to time they pop up. I can remember figuring out how to make it work for me before, but now I can't seem to remember. I know I can build it in sections with invisible walls and place the columns myself, but what's the proper way to get Chief to realize the first floor wall shouldn't travel past second floor wall? I'm not entirely sure what you're asking. First floor wall not travel past the second story wall. Let's see what Steve Nestor's saying. First level use invisible wall. Second level use a railing wall. Wall type single layer 8 inches wide. Rail is post to beam. Make newels 0 inches and make beam wall width 15 inches. Second floor room is open to below. I used stock Doric column. There's a bunch of different ways that you can do this. I'm wondering why they're not using, I wonder why they're using invisible walls for the first floor wall. I'm not sure exactly. I'm going to leave that as answered right here. Steve Nestor had a good approach. So, I mean, we can look at it. Why not? We could have gone back to that plan that we was already drawing columns on. Seems to be a column time of year, I guess. So let's use our railing tool. I'm going to see what happens. Why not just have this be on the first floor only? And then let me get into my build floor dialogues, toolbars, I should. And where are my foundations? And where my build floor stuff is. Oh, it is here. All right. I'm going to build a new floor. Sure. And that's going to disappear. And let's see what we're working with here. Okay, so Steve must have something here I'm not thinking of. So if I grab these walls and I copy them and go up a level and paste hold and set them to invisible, what happens? And then we have a floor platform in between. So we knew about this condition, open below. Right? And then we want a post to beam scenario. And we're going to set it to have columns. So wall thickness, let's just call it 12 inches. And our rail style is going to be post to beam. And then, and our include bottom, not include. Still want to figure out why, I can't figure out why I can't get rid of balusters. Rail style should be open. That's why. Soon. Ignore that earlier where I was setting balusters to 0 inch. That was silly. And then structure panel, can I do balloon through ceiling above? Does that work? That takes me up to the top. And then if I were to designate my columns as my balusters, Newell post 12 inches. Find that column. Big column again. Columns anyways. There we go. And then the beam. I need to set our beam 12, whatever this might be. Or maybe there is no beam. Who knows? Yeah, see, I don't see why this didn't work. I don't know why railing was set on the second floor as opposed to the first floor. What was this original? Yeah, we just generated this. That was pretty quick. Seems quick enough. And set this to be slab again. Basically what we just did before. There we go. Simple, easy, easy. And you can even select this if you wanted to. Cable. Oh, actually, you need to be on the second floor to do that. Oops. Yeah, cool. Haven't had to do this, so learning. All right, last one on the first page. Steve Matlaga. I actually don't know how to say his name, but I like him. He's very responsive in my YouTube and stuff. So, hello. As it relates to library browser, I'm curious to know if there are controls to shut off the auto extend of a folder when you drop and drag an item into it. No, there is not. And it opens up subfolders. This is fine normally. However, if you haven't gotten around to organizing main folder, you may get a very long list of items. That's true. True. I'm going to try something. Remember if this was another program or this program. So I have here a folder called Zero Shop. Let's change the name of this drawer base to 0 dot. Why not? And then we're going to do a search for 0 dot. Therefore, I've typed 0 dot. And so we get this and we get that shop. Can you drag this into the shop? No. And that's what's kind of crazy to me, that we can't do that. But you know what? Stay tuned. X14 is coming out pretty soon. Maybe we get some new features for that. Who knows? I'm not even going to bother with this one. That's it. That was the last one. We take a peek at this page 2. I'm tired, but let's take a peek at page 2. Dormer question. Oh man. Dormer question. I don't even want to touch it. That was it then. We're done. We're done. I don't like it. Oh, check this out. Here we go. I like this post. I want to check this one out. Get a total newbie starting to use OBS to record Chief with voice. I downloaded it. I've watched training videos, but no one shows me how to just be in Chief and start and stop recording a video of me using the software. When I have OBS on the laptop screen, I see no way to jump out of it into Chief without exiting OBS. Oh, I've got plenty of solutions for that. I use OBS. If you have any streaming questions, I can get pretty advanced with mine. I can hit certain keys and make stuff like this pop up. Or this. All kinds of cool stuff. So OBS is a fantastic platform if you want to do streaming. You can get really advanced with it. You can get some really cool stuff going on with it. So pretty neat. Anyways, let's end this there. I think we came up with some really cool stuff, really good solutions, good information. Hopefully you got something out of this. Please drop some comments in. Love to hear back from you on this, and take care.